Welcome to Conscious Chats. I'm Jaywin. Today I'm speaking with Frank Gessner, tech pioneer, serial entrepreneur, and co-founder of INTERSHOP, one of the early companies shaping the world of e-commerce. In this conversation, we talk about building companies, finding your inner compass, and how leaders stay aligned while navigating technology, AI, and a rapidly changing world. Thank you for being on the show, Frank. I'd like to start off with just a bit of your personal history, who you are, where you grew up, and what were your early years were like to kind of kick off the show.
All right, more than happy. Thank you for being here. So I grew up in Eastern Germany, kind of in the communism part of Germany. And then the German unification came when I was 19, 20. I was at the East German Army at this time.
Oh, wow.
And this was kind of quite challenging time. And then right after unification in 89, 90, I could study, which was seen as impossible before. So I could go to university. I was quite early in the internet, one of the first users in Germany. And then actually, out of the blue, I developed, I think, the first web shop ever on the globe.
Wow.
And I set them online. And out of this, together with a couple of friends, we founded a company. This company became quite big. So we IPO'd in both in the Nasdaq and here in Europe. And then afterwards, um, I founded another company for e-commerce back office systems, so order management, then a sabbatical, then real estate company, another foundation, a company for natural oil, a social company, a company for HR, crypto, in total 10 larger. In between, there was a food delivery company I helped to build up, Delivery Hero, which is quite big, which also IPO'd in Germany, and also built up a venture capital fund. So my ability to be focused in business is very low. So I jump from industry to industry,
I love that.
which has advantages and disadvantages, to be honest. And I'm currently for 3, 4 years, I'm no longer operational. So I have still 3 companies running,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm out of the day-to-day, executive role,
Mm-hmm.
rather work on the company than in the company. And now I'm passionate to give a little bit experience to younger entrepreneurs to help them to grow faster than I wish I would had a mentor at this time, and develop kind of use two growth systems for one for personal growth, one for business growth. I wish I would had these systems when I was in operational role. So this
Mm-hmm.
is kind of that's where I am. But kind of most important, I'm heavily married to an Ukrainian lady, beautiful, nice lady. For we are
Mm-hmm.
together for 20 years. I have 3 daughters already grown up, do their own life, have their own career. So my family, yeah, that's what's warming my heart.
I love that you build 10 companies. What were the inspiration behind building those companies? And building a business is really hard. So how were you able to navigate those challenges without having a mentor?
Yeah, this was especially in the beginning, since kind of growing up in a communism system, you said this right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so there is no one around you you could kind of have as a role model for as an entrepreneur or as a businessman, kind of even kind of I mean, we were not studying in Harvard since we had no idea where the
Of
hell the
course.
Harvard is
Yeah,
located, right?
yeah. Yes, yes.
So we didn't actually know, right?
Yeah.
Um, so kind of to a certain extent, this was kind of an advantage since if we
Mm.
would have known what we are doing, right, kind of
Yeah.
building up a company, growing it from zero to couple of thousand employees in 18 countries, going public within 3, 4 years, if you would have, with all the legal risks, with all the, challenges and leadership, if you would have, no, I think the power, I think at this time we had the power to be blind and wild at the same time, and a little bit
Uh-huh.
kind of naive or I don't know, right? So I think it was to a certain extent it was an advantage. To another side, I think I was all my I mean, I'm now in business for 30 years, and I'm still getting every day faced with challenges. I've no idea, kind of, and you walk through it, and yeah, I think one of the early inspiration was that when I met all these awesome entrepreneurs and business
Mm.
leaders and executives, I saw, well, in Germany you say they also cook with water, and not sure what whether this is a saying in English, but kind of they. Yeah, they're also not kind of whatever, have an IQ of 150. They're normal people, right? Kind of, and everyone is different.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
everyone has challenges. And you have these charismatic leaders, but you also have these dictator leaders. You have the
Ooh.
cooperative leaders. Everyone has a different leadership style. But anyway, right? They are successful or
Mm.
not successful, and you have to find your way through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you founded, I mean, when you look back at co-founding INTERSHOP and you scaled it into a global company, what part of that journey shaped you the most?
Um, I would say kind of I think InterShop it was actually my second company. I had
Mm-hmm.
a training company before, but it was a small one. Um, Kind of it shaped me that um, first, kind of at a young age, being responsible for so many people with that huge budget and
Yeah.
responsibilities and public awareness. And then in East Germany at this time, there was a big depression since everything was kind of cut down by the unification. And then there was one new company being in the press, being public, kind of was kind of a hope, a sign. So we had a higher responsibility than just running our business and being profitable for our own
Mm.
people. We had a kind of a public role somehow without even ever wanting this. However, when then the new market, right, kind of in 99, when the new market went down, where
Mm-hmm.
all these kind of dot-com startup with billions of valuation crashed to disappear from the radar,
Yep.
we had to lay off half of the team or even two-thirds of the team. The company still exists, right? So they,
Mm-hmm.
they could survive, but you had to lay off a lot of people. You do downward management, which is quite different from scaling up companies.
Yeah.
So you keep the company together all through. You know that you have to have most likely the next cut in a couple of weeks or months. And this is a people thing. And I
Yeah.
realized that I think it's one of the biggest learning is that we don't build up companies, we build up teams. And
Mm.
um, and the teams make the success. So that means kind of our own emotional impact, our own presence in the company is the limiting factor, or is the key to success. And quite early, I had to learn that I shall not be the biggest expert in my own company in terms of whatever tech or business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to serve my team with leadership that they can do things I could never ever do. And to
Wow.
keep these companies together all the years is a leadership challenge, not a business challenge.
Mm. And what inner skills matter more than, like, say, any technical or business skills when it comes to scaling successfully? Because you mentioned that it's people skills. So would that?
I think that your company grow by your own level of consciousness.
Wow.
And your own limitation on consciousness is which means that the more you reflect, the more you know what is your what is your ability to have a positive impact on your team, and where do you have limitations on serving your team with leadership. And and I also think that vulnerability is a big tool. Being vulnerable
Mm.
towards your own team, saying, you know what, well, there's a challenge. I have also no clue how to, how to step forward. I need your
Yeah.
help.
Wow, I
And
love that.
uh,
Yeah.
and I think this kind of consciousness, vulnerability, being truly serving your team, kind of that. I mean, how many employees or middle managers are successful all through their report to someone, right? And
Mm.
I'm and my kind of standard was always that the people around me shall be more successful than they could be ever without me. So I'm not sure I always succeeded on this, but this was always kind of the mindset. I
Mm.
need to serve them to win,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And right. And I also in my mentoring, or I do it also this Bloom growth. You've potentially heard
I
this is
love
a
it. Yeah.
operating system.
Yeah.
It's an operating system for companies, how to do meetings, how to align, how to focus, how to underneath. I really love it. Um, and and with these Bloom clients or Bloom entrepreneurs I'm currently serving or facilitating, um, most of them always believe they have to be the smartest in the room, right? They have to know it better. They have to know the customers better. They have to know the technology better, the whatever, the market, the sales, whatever, right? Kind of to lead by example, just do what I do and you will win, right? And I had to
Mm.
learn quite early that this becomes very soon a bottleneck,
Yeah,
and
it would
you
be.
and you
Mm.
and you and you and this is actually not your role as a leader. Your role as a leader is to multiply the other's potential and to lead
Oh.
them and to and to be conscious enough and to be have an emotional connect to them enough that they can be more successful by your coaching and mentoring than they could be ever. So kind of to multiply other potential. This is your job as a leader, not to know better.
Mm. So like people actually has a misconception as, being a leader, you have to know everything, know it all, but we can't just know it all, right? So it's just
Right.
about like it's more like understanding people's potential and being
Right.
able to guide them so they can reach their fullest potential.
Right. Right. And to grow faster as in the company than or with your leadership than they could ever without you, and that they multiply potentials they might not have seen on themselves.
Mm.
And that's what I said, kind of in the end, we build teams, we build awesome people, we let them grow. And with this, we grow the company.
Mm. And during those journey, at one point, did you realize that the outer success like exiting, scaling, recognition wasn't the full picture?
Um, this was quite early since everything was growing so fast. And I actually did a project and I called this project defrancation, kind of to get rid of Frank, right? Rid
Mm.
of me. Defrancation to add a new
Differentiation. I
word to the
love
English
that.
language.
I love that. I love that differentiation. Yes. So it's basically it's like shutting down the old layers of who you were.
Right. And do
Yeah.
a kind of, that every time someone was knocking on my door and say, Frank, we have this problem. Can you please solve it? Right. Which is the
Mm.
typical employee behavior, right? I made sure next time he comes with a good proposal, right? Or
Mm.
with a good suggestion. Or I was asking, oh well, you know much better. What would you do? And step by step. Also, many entrepreneurs see um, actually don't like their role in their own company. Um,
Oh.
so many entrepreneurs come with a visionary mindset, kind of with a visionary competence profile. They really see the future. They can build. products, services for the future. They love to invent, to also connect in the market, have networking, to whatever, take care about customers and so on. But actually, they end up being operational in companies
Yeah.
and doing whatever finance budgets, employee rehearsal, things they hate, right? Since they are not able to build a leadership team around them that's able to do it, to
Mm.
lead a company. And since no one is smart enough, I always also was thinking for decades that I'm the smartest person on this planet, which is totally stupid. Right? But that no one in my companies could ever do half of it. It's totally stupid. I don't know. I don't know where this comes from.
Is it
Um,
like as being is it what you meant by is just being a founder, right? Like so as being a founder, you wear so many hats. So some
right.
days you're the salesperson, some days you're the account team, some days you're the
Right.
marketing team. So
Yes.
like
Yeah.
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 And as a founder, since because you started wearing so many hats, so even when the companies becomes kind of successful, they feel like they have to be involved and not a
Right.
lot of the people can't do the role. So they just still very involved and ended up doing a lot of the thing and start getting burned out.
Yeah. And this is right in the beginning, right? Kind of in the
Of course,
beginning, you are
yeah.
whatever, you're alone, or you have whatever co-founders, but then, or you have, even if you have a small team of 5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 50, this is even kind of a small company where you as the founder, you are very operational, and without you, nothing would exist around you. So you are one of the main reasons that this
It's
company has
complete.
reached the point it is today,
Mm,
right? And then the next level of consciousness comes in, right?
yes.
Realizing
Mm-hmm.
that you become more and more the biggest bottleneck for further growth,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That the more kind of every one of us has limitations to a certain point, right? We are good at
Mm-hmm.
many things, but we also have limitations,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
And the more we are central in the company, the more these limitations have an impact on the company, right?
Mm,
Which
mm-hmm.
makes sense, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that means kind of the more conscious you are, or the more aware you are about these limitations, the more you're willing to build people around you compensating this and doing things you hate to do
Mm,
much better than you than you can ever do, that you can focus on these areas you love to do, which you're really good at, which could be
mm,
whatever, the next
mm,
product innovation or the next market dynamic or the next strategic partner region, you name it. Kind of you more and more develop yourself into a position where you work on the company and not in the company, and you see the people you hire do it much better than you have ever done, so you
love
grow.
that. Yeah. And say if a founder feels lost or misaligned, what's the first step do you usually suggest to regain that clarity?
Well, the what I typically see, also what I've seen on myself, is kind of the more you get in trouble or you get lost, the more there is a tendency to become even more active, right? Kind of to do more, to kind of to try
Yeah.
to fix it, to
Yeah. Yeah. True.
to work,
True.
go from 40 to 60 to 80 hours a week, to have more meetings and more products and more services. And and clarity does not come from activity. Clarity comes from calming down,
Ah.
from slowing down, from taking time to think, taking a mentor, and and ask, what kind of getting also emotional feedback. Not kind of usually it's not a business problem, right? Kind of it looks like an external problem.
Uh-huh.
The market has changed. There are currency trouble to the US dollar. There is a big competitor appearing on the market. So it always looks like an external problem,
That's
right?
so true. Yeah. Yeah.
But looking deeper, it's usually an internal problem that, you lost clarity of vision. What problem do we actually want to solve, right? What are the values that are really important for us? What are the priorities we have in a company? And and what is actually so many founders, so many entrepreneurs build up companies they hate, right? So they started with a product company and then end up to do a service company, but they hate service or the way around, or um, they have they have relationships in the companies they don't really enjoy,
Mm.
right? And and in my mentoring, I now do mentoring for almost 10 years,
Oh,
mentoring entrepreneurs.
amazing.
Um, and and what I always see are three main problems. People come to me usually with a business problem. I want to
Uh-huh.
sell my company. I don't grow fast enough. I have these leadership problems. My co-founders, my investors, you name it, right? That's the typical external problem, as we just said, type of reasons why they get in contact with me.
Mm.
And what I see is usually three problems they have. First is they want to somehow become a better version of themselves and want to become kind of the company shall become better or grow or so, but they have really difficulties to define what the hell means one level up, what means up, what is actually what is the North
Mm.
Star, where do you want to go to? A kind of this clarity of
Mm.
vision, so to
Mm.
speak,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
even if they have kind of an idea of a clarity of vision. They also know the disadvantages, since if you go right, there's advantages, disadvantages, you go
Yes.
left, right? Kind of it,
Yeah.
right? So there is no true kind of, does it really fit to me, right? Is it just a
Mm.
market opportunity or do I truly want to have this? And are we
Uh-huh.
really aligned in the company to go there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So kind of these one level up or growing, right? You have to have a definition of what the hell means up, right? The second, what I always see is that um, there's always kind of this, we want to become something, right? So only if I had this, whatever, 100 million exit, I'm a good entrepreneur. Only if I
Mm.
have the third child, I'm a good father. Only if I have whatever this wealth in my bank account, So you always want to become something, or if my company has this market share or so.
Mm.
And it's very hard especially for entrepreneurs, just just to be, just to say, well, we are sitting here in this meeting and we discuss, and this is how awesome is this, and we do exactly what we should do, right? Right here. We enjoy the time. We even take energy out of right? We don't have to wait until we become something. We can, and you get this when you know whatever we do exactly brings us to where we want to be. Right? And you also have these social connects around you. I think a killer for most founders is loneliness. If you're lonely as a founder and days get a little bit darker, kind of,
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
challenges come around,
yeah, yeah.
loneliness is a killer for founders. Right?
Mm.
So, and many founders really lack of a support network. They think they have to fight through by themselves. However, right? So, if you have clarity of not only your North Star, but also what brings you there, right? So, therefore, I use Bloom, and for personal things, I use LifePilot, which is a
I
thing I
saw
have
that.
developed.
Yeah.
So both are personal growth systems, right? So you have clarity of vision of where you want to go, and you have quite a good understanding. Okay, what does it mean for the next 3 years? What does it mean for your annual goals? What is really important this quarter, right? So then right? I currently speak to Jay, and that's exactly where I should be right now, and I can just be and enjoy it, right? And I don't always have in my bag, oh, I should do something else, or this has to be done, or this, and so on, and all the other things, right?
Yeah, so you're not present anymore. So you're just like thinking about, the
Right, absolutely.
future. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And would you
And
say that though also, oh sorry, you were saying something.
um, yeah, just kind of there's a third thing what I always see is that especially we founders, we tend to be over busy, right?
Mm,
Kind of our
mm-hmm.
calendar is fully packed,
Yeah.
10, 15 items every single day, right? Meetings, things to do, and so on, right? But
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, at the end of the day or at the end of the week, we look back and said, well, nothing really reached, right?
Nothing
Kind of there is
refugees, yeah.
the so that and so it means we are busy, but our sense of success or sense of achievement is, is you cannot compare it to our business, right?
Mm,
So it's
that's
not in
so
balance.
true. Mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's me, and it's not because of entrepreneurs are not really good in self-management. They're usually good in self-management and time management and scheduling tasks and meetings and using AI systems for it. Is that we It's really hard for us to distinguish between urgent and important.
Mm,
And everything that is urgent is not important, and everything that's important is not urgent. So urgent is that whatever, you have to have this budget finalized until the end of the week. You have to, the customer needs this, the investor meeting,
mm.
whatever. All this is urgent. But important is have the next health check, have the
Uh-huh.
next, well, whatever, or get this clarified word with your father as long as he's still alive.
Mm.
Maybe rethinking whether this product line is really fulfilling your dream of your own company, or if you currently work on something that you don't actually want, kind of. And and we are busy with urgent stuff, and everything that's important is not urgent. This is the problem that kind of you can also do this
Mm,
next
that's
week or
true.
in 1 month.
Yeah.
Right? And and we have difficulties to distinguish between urgent and important since we don't have this clarity of vision.
Uh-huh.
And we don't know how to get there. If you know, all right, this is what I want to reach, and this is my next step, this is important now. If you have a growth system like Bloom or LifePilot, Bloom is for companies, LifePilot is for the entrepreneur or for the leader, then you know what's important. You know what's
Mm.
important. This is important this quarter. I have to reach this quarter in order to reach these annual goals. And these annual goals bring me directly to these 3 year possible future. And the 3 year possible future brings me directly to the person I want to become and the life I want to live. And and this brings and therefore kind of consciousness, clarity of vision, emotional connect. This is what makes a good leader, I believe.
Mm. So I think it's basically having the North Star
Yes.
to aim. So just like every day that you're doing some sort of actions or something, you look at your North Star and am I leading
Right.
towards that North Star or am I stepping away from that
Yes.
North Star?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And because we were mentioning earlier about how the founders ended up hating the company, say, because there would be some instances where you build something, but then you thought that this is what the customer wanted, but then later on, after learning about the markets and learning about your customer, you kind of have to pivot into
All right.
something. So
All right.
then it becomes into something, well, this is not what I enjoy, but what we're pivoting
All
it
right.
so
All
that
right.
way I can bring in
Very
more
often.
investor.
Right. But
So
then you end
then,
up to have something you actually don't like, or you solve a
yeah,
problem which is where you don't have any emotional connect to.
connection to it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then so when those moments hit, so what is the middle, I wouldn't say what is the middle ground. Like, how do they navigate that into like, would they choose something? Okay, well, I have to report back to the investor, and that's what they need. And this is like, this will lead me to the monetary success, or I might be feeling so depressed and hating that, but I just have to keep pushing for it.
Yeah.
How do they make the decision then?
Well, I mean, before the decision needs to be the awareness that this is the
Mm.
case.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is no kind of intellectual awareness about this, there is for sure a body awareness about it. I think your body knows. Something in
Mm.
your body knows. Kind of you have pain, you have headache, you have your neck, your back, your whatever, right?
That's
Your
right.
body will know
It
first,
tells me. Yeah, yeah.
right? Even if there's no intellectual awareness yet, something kind of you work on something which feels wrong, and you have to do a move, whatever the move is, right?
Mm,
And and then you said before that, in every founder's life or entrepreneur's life, there are also kind of difficult times, dark times, right? And the more you can connect your personal purpose in life with your company purpose, the more you find energy in order to also go through these dark times. Kind of if you have clarity about what is your what is your personal purpose, whatever actually gives you more energy, the more you do it, right? And connect it with your business, right? It could be either what your business is actually doing or your leadership impact in your as a leader in your business,
Yeah.
right? Which could also be fine. Um, so, for example, my personal business, my personal purpose in life is having a positive impact on myself, kind of learning, growing, and so on, and on everyone around me. Right. So if you or everyone listening to this podcast says, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
I'm a little bit inspired," I'm happy. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone around me could be the Uber driver, could be the lady selling flowers, could be the waitress in a restaurant, or the whatever the other entrepreneur I speak to. Um, so I do. So with LifePilot, I help people to have a system to grow faster. With Bloom, I help leadership team to build better companies, to focus, to align, to simplify, to prioritize. So I have this. So I connect I have clarity about my personal purpose and bring it into what I love to do and even get paid for, right? And
Uh-huh.
and
Love
therefore,
that.
kind of, I believe that if entrepreneurs have both a personal growth system, whatever they use, right? Like Pilot is one of them,
Love that.
and have a business growth system that they have a system that the entire leadership team has clarity about their values, their purpose, their BHAG, their 3 years plan, annual goals, parties, and so on. Then it comes together, right? And you
Yes.
find you want to go, you say, well, all right, this might be successful or not, right? In a business term, but any effort is worth the extra mile, right? And since this is my purpose, this is the problem I want to solve, or this is what drives me, or this is what gives me energy, right?
I love that. And to say being a founder, especially in the startup world, rejection is constant.
Yeah.
So, you get rejections from like say investors, even customers,
Mm,
and you
mm,
explain to them like, your new ideas,
mm,
it don't
mm.
really land. They're like, oh, well, this is not gonna make money or it's not gonna work. How, in your experiences, how did you learn to move through rejection without kind of letting it define you?
Yeah. At first, kind of, this is really hard, especially in an early stage. Nearly every company I built up, even closest friends around me said that's totally stupid. This will never ever work.
Yeah.
Right? You know this, and your parents are concerned. Your friends say, you know what, you invest so much into this time and money, and then you speak to the first customers and you get rejection as well, or investors, right? It's tough, right? So
Yeah.
the first is, I think, so what's helpful for me is first kind of doing it alone is much harder than if you have people around you. You kind of to do it together. Also knowing that before you can convince other or win others, kind of you have to believe
In
yourself
yourself.
truly that
Yeah.
this is
True. Yeah. Yeah.
right. So you have not only to believe into what you're going to sell or pitch, also you have to believe in yourself being able to bring this to market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since kind of it's the usually entrepreneurs come up with a good product or service or whatever they're going to offer and pitch it. And they get a rejection, sometimes for very good reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually not that whatever they want to build is not something the market needs. It's usually that there is a kind of a concern whether the ones pitching or selling are really able to fulfill on this. So it's more, right? Can they really kind of have a sustainable service offering out of this or product or also whatever the ecosystem around this kind of so it's more you have to believe in yourself to be able to fulfill on this. The product can change. You can have, oh, there are 20 features missing, let's have two
Mm,
more in
mm-hmm.
years, and you build these 20 features, and this is kind of you get this resolved, but you have to believe in yourself, right?
Mm, mm,
And and this is a journey, and I think also selling or pitching is not convincing, it's inviting, right? You invite others to
mm,
join this, right? To join
mm,
this
mm-hmm.
journey, to join this long-term success and not, oh, get in and then you will be rich or so. Doesn't
Yeah.
really, right?
And
Mm,
and
mm,
how does it, you know, how like in terms of say you're trying to sell your vision and there was have some of course pushback from people saying that
mhm.
hey you are actually making a mistake, it's not going to work,
Yep,
but then
yep.
it's painful, right? Even though you
Hmm.
like no matter how much self-belief that you have, it's only
Hmm.
sometimes it's going to chip away at your confidence. You're like, then you start to doubt yourself.
Right,
Or can I even do this? Or am I
right.
actually fooling myself? So in those moments, were there any like self-talk, or how were you able to push through those noises?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I can totally relate. I had these noises very often in my life or my entrepreneurial journey. Um, and these noises can be very loud inside. I
Mm-hmm.
also believe that even the most successful entrepreneurs somehow doubt whether they are good leaders, whether they're true entrepreneurs, right?
Mm.
Kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you look at my LinkedIn profile and say, oh, wow, but, there was so much just pure luck, being at the right time and with the right
Wallah.
people at the
Mm.
right place. There's doubts. Are you really able to repeat this or to do the next or do the next? So and then every rejection brings you down again. And so
Mm-hmm.
what helped me are first is getting a little bit less Frank-centric in this journey to say, well, I actually want to solve a certain problem or I want to fulfill something on my own personal vision or I think someone needs to do this, and if I'm not successful, someone else will. So I get a little bit less founder-centric,
Mm.
the
Mm-hmm.
own story, right? So
Yeah.
if there is a good reason why this play needs to be played, then then it will be successful somehow, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Second is I think a support circle of founders, other founders, mentors, people you can speak to are totally undervalued. It's China. It's just I'm a member of this entrepreneurs organization EO. Maybe you had other EO members already here on this podcast. Entrepreneurs. If you're a founder and have at least 1 million in revenue, join this organization. It was the second best decision in my life to join EO.
EO
And you have EO Entrepreneurs Organization. It's
organization.
a
EO. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so if you're a founder and you're the kind of a minimum revenue is 1 million US. I'm now a founder, a member of EO for 16 years, 16, 17 years, was the second
Mm-hmm.
best decision in my life. So having a support circle of other entrepreneurs around you Having a mentor, a coach, someone you where you have a kind of a trusted environment, and you can really say, you know what, I'm currently thinking, I'm under and yeah, with someone without agenda. So it should not be an investor
Uh-huh.
or a shareholder or a co-founder,
Yeah.
so it should be someone without stake, right? Yeah, yeah,
And also in terms of selling, like as an entrepreneurs, we're always selling, right? So
yeah.
how do you sell, say, belief and trust before there's a proof or traction?
Yeah, the I mean, many of my companies started with with a set of PowerPoint slides, and there was nothing.
Ah,
So, and you have to ask for money and sometimes millions, and
yeah.
so the yeah, it kind of there has to be a good balance of really selling the future or kind of inviting to the future, and how great this would be if you would build this. On the other side, it's also be transparent, be vulnerable, be say, well,
Mm,
this what we have, which brings us to where we want to be, and this is what we
mm,
don't have yet, and we need help to build this. And you kind
mm,
of the more you show yourself vulnerable, you're open, you're trustworthy, you don't kind of show up somehow and try to try to communicate or try to present something which is actually not there, right? The less investors trust you, and if an investor is not
mm.
trusting you or customers are not trusting you, right? It's obviously a much harder play to invite them. So pitching is a good balance of. I mean, you have to little bit to play the trump and to say what great
Mm-hmm.
market opportunity, and it's all good, right? And you should
Mm,
also do this. On the other side, you should present yourself as a trustworthy partner in this game,
mm.
and also show yourself vulnerable and be transparent and be open, and then yeah, and then it will work.
What's mainly like a common mistake that you see founders when they make a pitch in or when they're positioning their ideas
Well, towards customers or towards investors?
towards investors?
Well, towards investors, kind of I mean, I also built up a venture capital play,
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know how many hundreds of pitches I received, and also
Yeah.
did a also did a lot of pitches in my own
Mm.
companies. Most of my
Mm-hmm.
companies were venture backed. Um, Very often, kind of ask yourself first: do you really need investors, and do you really want to have investors? Right?
Uh-huh.
It sounds like easy money, but
Mm-hmm.
once you want an investor, you have a shareholder on board with some rights in
Mm-hmm.
the contracts, right? And the majority of plays doesn't actually need venture capital investments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so in 5, 10 years ago, in order to build a software product, you need at
You need a
least
lot of
half a
money.
million or a million
Mm-hmm.
or 2 million or 3 million today. Market entry is so low with all the AI-based software development
Yeah.
systems and other systems. So you get to an MVP quite, without much effort. Um, Alternative to venture capital is a customer-based investment kind of product development, so that you say first it's being built for a single customer, and then whatever we productize it later on or others. Um, in general, I had good experiences with investors, but the
Mm-hmm.
majority of entrepreneurs reports big trouble with investors. So kind of
Mm-hmm.
the conflict of, I mean, as long as everything is fine, it's sunny and there's good wind in the sail, and so everyone is happy and you're the hero.
Yeah.
right? But as soon as growth slows down, there are difficulties. Things go wrong, which is normal in every
Of course, it's
journey,
always
right? With the
happening. Yeah.
smartest, right? So then, well, it turns out that some investors are super super productive, and others are become a problem, and you have to take care about them as well, or you even lose
Wow.
your
Yeah.
company if your contracts allow this. And right? And on the other side, you have business angels, kind of non-professional business angels who put in whatever 50K, 100K into a company. That's fine. Most of them are do it not. I mean, they want to get more dollars out than they put in, but it's not their
Of
main
course.
interest. Their main interest is being together with these young, inspiring entrepreneurs, being close to the market, with others. So they are not professional investors. If you can win them and you want to win them and you want to have them on board, go with them. If you go for institutional money, for venture capital, really fund-based money, these guys are under enormous pressure. So if they don't show a 20-25% IRR, that means kind of annual growth in value of their fund, they really have difficulties to raise the next
Wow.
fund. So that means every single investment they do per fund, and usually they do 10, 12, 15 investments per fund only, every single one has to have the potential to be the rock star in the fund. Um, since they know half of them will be lost, a third will, if they're lucky, they get their money back. So that means two, three have to be rock stars in order to come to a hundreds of millions or even billion valuation. So if your play has never ever realistic chance to get to 100 million valuation, you're not really a venture capital case. You might build up a super profitable business with whatever large EBIT or EBITDA every year. This is not a VC case, right? So be sure and also double check with friends. Is this really a VC case? Since you can be busy for a year or longer with fundraising, which slows down your company.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've been a both a founder and a mentor. How should early stage founders think about choosing the right mentor?
So first, kind of have a mentor, right? Even if it's
Ah.
the wrong one, have a mentor. So, right, as long as you can agree on a certain trust setup, right, so that everything that's being discussed is 100% confidential, even the one which is not a really good mentor is better than having no mentor, since you are forced
Ah.
to reflect, you are forced to whatever, do some commitments and then work on it. And next time you meet a mentor, you want to have fulfilled on them and so on. So you get a little bit kind of rhythm. Choosing the right one is um, don't go for prestige, right? Oh, I have this awesome entrepreneur. Since kind of a man being able to mentor, it's most entrepreneurs are not able to do so,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Mentoring is kind of a coach. A good coach asks good questions. A good consultant gives good answers. A mentor is something in between, right? So it's asking
Oh.
good questions, but also shares experience, says, you know what, I currently see that what you're doing is not right, and double check again. So it's also pushing a little bit. So a mentor is between coach and consultant, and this skill, being a good mentor, most entrepreneurs don't have this skill, right? So great mentors don't impress, right? They connect, they care,
Mm-hmm.
they listen,
Listen, yeah.
right? and as I said, kind of since the problem is most often not an external one, but an internal one, kind of that the leader, that the entrepreneur, the leader, the founder is actually the problem of the, or is one big part of the problem,
Mm.
especially this emotional connect. And then this emotional feedback or helping the entrepreneurs to have emotional consciousness. Um, I think that's the quality you need, right?
Mm.
And if you as a founder or entrepreneur, you know someone and you said, well, this would be just a perfect mentor of mine, but I think they would never ever work
Yeah.
with me, right?
Yes.
Kind of if you have
Yeah.
this belief,
Mm-hmm.
right? Think again and say, why not just writing them a handwritten letter? That's
Oh,
the big
wow.
trick. Write a
Wow.
handwritten
Yeah.
letter and show yourself vulnerable in this letter and say,
Mm.
well, you know what? I'm currently building up this company. I feel lonely in my CEO position, right? These are my doubts. And and this is the way I see you as a good mentor. The likelihood, and you just ask for one call. Don't
Just
ask
one
for a
call.
2-year mentorship, just ask
Mm-hmm.
for one call. The
Mm-hmm.
like kind of the success likelihood is 99% that the one, since it's also a little bit ego of the mentor, kind of he gets a
Yeah.
handwritten letter from a young entrepreneur asking for a 1 hour. I
Oh,
mean, of course,
weeks.
I mean, it
Yeah.
could be the president, could be Donald Trump. I mean, everyone would do this,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, wow.
So, and then
Yeah.
in this one call, right, kind of you have him and say, you know what, can we have another call and can we agree on whatever every second Tuesday, and then you
Yeah.
go into this mentoring practice. So
Wow.
that's the trick.
I love that you mentioned that trick because I always wonder. I'm like, I would love to have a mentor. And then I thought about like certain people that I look up to and stuff. And I'm like, should I just send a LinkedIn message? But I'm like, oh, they would
No,
never. They won't
no,
have time.
they will
They won't
never.
have
Yeah, yeah,
time.
right. No, but this handwritten letter, give it a try and write me
Yeah.
and write me whether it works. It works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because yeah, sometimes we just overthink, and I'll just overthink, and I'm like, they won't have time. They're doing so many things. They won't do that. They won't go for coffee with me. They won't even do that. So then you just don't end up trying. Or sometimes you just like send a LinkedIn, or
Right,
some people don't reply.
right,
So you're just like, oh no, and then you got beaten
right.
down, and yeah.
Right. And don't look for mentors just, they were whatever, they had this and this title or this kind of, don't look for prestige mentors. Look for
Mm,
mentors where you say, well, I could connect to them and they could really connect to me and we would we could
mm,
we could develop a bonding, and out of this bonding there will be kind of a emotional bridge, and we can really work good together, right?
mm. And Frank, you've lived through multiple tech revolutions. So
Hmm.
how does the current AI moment feel different, like emotionally and culturally from what you've seen before?
Yeah. Um, I studied computer science, and even 30 years ago, AI was my specialty. So I'm for 30
Whoa,
years
wow.
I work with AI. At the moment, I really see it. I see an exponential growth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to a certain extent, it scares me.
Scary.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so, the computer scientists or AI scientists, they call this the singularity event, where the first AI will be able to develop an AI better than themselves, right? This is called the singularity event.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then once this AI is being built, and this AI might be able to build an even better AI, and then there will be an exponential growth, and this will go
Mm-hmm.
into an IQ we cannot even imagine. And then
Wow.
the three options around this is that this AI is helps us as a human society, so it's positive towards us and it's supporting us somehow, which means they will most likely limit our abilities in order to save the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second option is that this much higher IQ AI is against us, which is a very short story.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and the third likelihood is, which is the highest likelihood, is that this AI doesn't care about us.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Um, so, and I
mm-hmm.
think that everyone currently building on AI should make sure that there is a ethical framework that we make sure that we can that these AIs are not doing harm to anything, that there is kind of a ethical ethical thinking around everyone building on AI, right? At
Mm,
the moment,
mm-hmm.
the AIs are just tools. We use them for whatever all types of tasks,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and it's just there anyway, right? Kind of everyone
Yeah.
has to work with it, right? It will also questions a little bit our role in the society. So we are no longer the smartest, right? Kind of we,
Yes, yes.
right? So yeah. But in the end, I think AI should support us and not the way around.
Mm. And how do leaders risk losing if they like we started outsourcing too much of our thinking and intuition to technology these days? Like, so
Yeah.
how can they risk losing, rather than just tapping into our own, like, because sometimes our own self as well is very intelligent. We have our own inner compass. But these days, we kind of just like everything that we're thinking, we just put it into an AI and it spit it back out.
Yeah. So especially for entrepreneurs and founders,
Mm-hmm.
always have this in mind. Will the product or services you're currently building be potentially replaced by AI? And the
Mm,
more you start to use it, the more you see, what can you bring to the table, right? So look,
mm-hmm.
for example, like look this podcast, right? You're currently doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could could an AI do this as well? Yes, an AI could do this as well. They could even
Yeah.
visually, whatever, present you and good question, a good. But there's something more in this podcast, kind of the emotional connect you built to me, the response you have, kind of, which is Jay, which is not
Yeah.
kind of
Not a,
artificially professional, right? Kind of,
that's right. Yeah.
it's not optimized, right? It's
Yes.
emotional.
It's raw and it's authentic rather than,
It's raw
yeah.
and it's authentic, right?
Yeah.
And which was seen as a disadvantage before, and now it becomes an advantage,
Yes.
right? So before we wanted to become the more professional, the better.
Yeah.
Now we wanna become, right? It's like watches, right? This is a mechanical watch,
Mm-hmm.
and the objective of a mechanical watch is no longer to have a precise time.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
a mechanical watch is whatever a minute late or so,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
it's awesome, right? Since it's a
Mm-hmm.
mechanical,
Mm-hmm.
you know the
Yeah.
mechanics, you know how complicated it is, and
Mm-hmm.
right, if I want to have the time by the second, I look at my cell phone or my whatever, right? Kind of
Yeah.
that's not what and I think um if we develop systems which are AI supported, but we have our human elements on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it's not a good idea to try to be better than AI. You will
Oh,
lose,
you definitely, definitely. We're
right?
not gonna be smarter than AI, like,
But so many things can be, we outsource less. We just let do it by an AI. We can leverage ourselves by AI, but so many things can never be done by an AI, and we can do this and we can focus on this, and this is maybe also much more joy than the things an AI can do.
Mm. And I mean, I have got so many other questions to ask. I'm also conscious of the time in here. I've got a
Time,
whole
yeah.
list of the things that I
Uh,
wanted to ask, but I also know that I need to be respectful of your time and let you go. But before I wrap up the show, I'd like to end it with one question. So, which is one truth about you? What is one truth about you that you stand by?
um, well, in terms of kind of what I learned, or what do you mean? Or
Who,
what is
one
the
truth as in like
ah
what you
ah
value, who you are as a person, like
right.
one truth.
Um, yeah. Um, I think one truth about is that I believe that it's so much harder to find out what you truly want than to achieve it. So much harder.
Oh, wow.
Since kind of in every moment of your life, right, there are always multiple options, right? All
Mm-hmm,
of these
mm-hmm.
options have advantages and disadvantages. And
Mm,
and to find out, but once you know, once you have clarity of vision, once you know where you want to go, doors get open, you meet someone, you read something, something pops up,
mm,
and super fast you're there, right? Finding
mm,
out what you want is so much harder than to achieving it. And that in most cases, it's outside your comfort zone. I also believe that true joy is only possible outside your comfort zone.
mm.
Um, and even I sometimes seek to go outside my comfort zone since there is the most growth. And if you have clarity of vision, if you have a personal growth system like LifePilot, right,
I love
where
that.
you know your why, you know your North Star, you know how to get there. So you have a personal growth system. And for your company, you have an operating system like Bloom or EOS, or they are scaling up, there are other systems. And you have clarity of vision, you know how to get there, you have priorities, and so on. It's the same, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know where you go there. And then woof, you're there, right?
Uh-huh.
So therefore, take effort to have absolute clarity of vision. And
Mm.
and you know what? You will love it.